Welcome back to another video, and just excuse the noise, I'm just on a busy road at the moment, and I'm close to an airport, so some planes flying over. But what I wanted to address today is just some of the comments on my video. And this is the video where I raise the throttle and I go from about 13 meters up to 58 meters, or 43 feet up to 190 feet, and the horizon, the center of the horizon actually goes above the center of the lens. So I will have a look at the comments, in particular Fight the Flat Earth and Rhetoric. So if we have a look at Fight the Flat Earth, now bear in mind I provided the full logs, well, provided the logs of where I raised the throttle, right? So this is the time when I raised the throttle and the altitude and the gimbal pitch in degrees. So he says, nice gimbal pitch change there. I'm sure Reds will have a laugh. Yep, cool. You can see the gimbal pitch change there, however little, like I said. Your logs show a change in gimbal pitch, sorry. So I'm going to call you out on this one, Craig. I want you to show me where in my logs, which I'm going to explain, where in my logs is there a gimbal pitch change that you can see, a continuous gimbal pitch change actually, that you can see in my logs, because the change, the gimbal pitch change, must be continuous in order for me to keep that horizon going higher and higher. It can't just be a small change and then left there. It has to be a continuous change. Then I want to call you out on this one as well. Please show full unedited footage and full logs. Reds has. Reds has not shown full logs. And if you want to lie and say he has, well, then I want you to present where he has shown his full logs, please. Because that sounds like bullshit to me. You're full of lies, Craig. And you want to see the full unedited footage? Well, here it is right here. Let's start with that, right? So we're going to open this with Windows Media Player because it plays shit in VLC for some reason. This is the full unedited footage straight from the Mavic. And as you can see, that's the end. I started coming back down just right at the end of the video. So that's part one of your comment debunked. Second part is Red showing full logs, which I know is already debunked because he didn't show any logs. So that's bullshit. Second one, your logs show a change in the gimbal pitch. Now let's have a look at Red's comment here. Your video is hilarious. You have to give time for the gimbal to settle. Oh dear, oh dear. What you did was cut the video as soon as the gimbal was starting to reorientate itself. No, I didn't cut the video. That was the end of the video, Reds. Debunked. It's very dishonest of you. Okay, sure, whatever. Here's the deal. Do the scan, but this time leave the drone at altitude, giving time for the gimbal to resettle. And maybe go up a little bit higher. Well, I don't need to go any higher because hang on. This comment's changed. Anyway, go up a little bit higher. I don't need to go any higher because your footage was at 200 feet. At 200 feet in your footage, you showed horizon drop was purely because of your shit visibility on the day. And I had good visibility. I also had a sunrise, which is lighting up the whole ocean in front of me. So I can see a lot of ocean. And then, so let's prove that the gimbal was settled. And let's also prove that there was no gimbal pitch change. This is the log. I've eliminated some of the columns because they're not necessary. I mean, battery temperature is not necessary. Longitude and latitude, I've hidden that. You can see they've been hidden here. The only ones we're interested in here is the altitude above sea level, which is here in feet. This is the same thing here. Altitude in feet, it's exactly the same. There's no difference. This one's just, I think, slightly rounded off in some areas. And then we've got the gimbal pitch in degrees, right, which is this is the beginning of the flight. RC elevator, aileron, throttle, and rudder. This is the radio control itself. So any changes I make on the control, you will see reflected in this column. The only one that's going to really change here is the throttle, because I raised the throttle, come back down. I don't believe there was any pitching involved. Maybe in the beginning I pitched forward just to go a little bit forward somewhere. But when I gained altitude to do this test, there was no elevator, no aileron, and no rudder, only throttle, and you'll see that as well. So we're interested in the gimbal pitch in degrees and the altitude in feet. Yep. So yeah, this one does match exactly that one. Yep. Cool. Okay. So I did this twice in my video. I went to a certain altitude. I think the first one you'll see 35 feet. The first time I did it, I only went to 113 feet. And then I saw what was happening because I wasn't planning for this. This is not why I went there. It's not why I took my drone out. So then I came back down again and started to plan what I was going to do. Plan to take a photo quickly, take a video. So I come back down to 43 feet odd. Right there. Right. So I come back down to 43 feet. This is where you can see the gimbal is sitting on 1.5 degrees, and we can scroll up here. This is 20 odd seconds, reds, that the gimbal was sitting on 1.5 degrees. It goes to 1.6, which that is a 0.05 degree change. You would not see that change. But nevertheless, it was sitting on 1.55 for 21 seconds, I believe. Or 1.5, sorry, for 21 seconds. Right, so 43 feet with the point where I raise the throttle. You'll see, here it is here. This is full throttle, 1,684, and 1,024 is center stick, right? Everything else is centered except for the throttle. The throttle is at full throttle, 1.5 degrees of pitch on the gimbal. It's the altitude, so you can watch the altitude as I scroll this down, and the altitude goes up to 189.86 feet. 189.86 feet. And you can see it is still settled on 1.5 degrees. I've already started to throttle down instantly because I was in a rush. So the gimbal was settled for the entire duration, reads Rhetoric, at 1.5. I then came down in the throttle. You can watch the throttle. I come all the way down 140 feet, still sitting at 1.5 degrees. I come all the way down to landing, which is at 0 feet. The gimbal is still sitting at 1.5 degrees, and throttle is right down. Where is the point where throttle goes back to 2024? There. Now it's landed, and it's still sitting at 1.5 degrees. So this debunks Reds and Craig. Craig, I've shown my full logs. Reds, I've shown you that the gimbal was settled the entire duration of the altitude gain and descent. So there's no excuses. The only difference here is that I had good visibility over the horizon while you had shit visibility. What actually happens is if you focus your center of your lens on the horizon and you gain altitude, the horizon actually rises up. It goes above the center of the lens. If I set the gimbal to 0 degrees, which is eye level, what will happen is the horizon will rise equally with the center of the lens. Now, unfortunately, I didn't do that test, which I'm going to do at some point, but this proves that there was no gimbal pitch change. For anybody saying there was a gimbal pitch change, this proves there was no gimbal pitch change. So yes, that's all I have to show today, and thanks for watching.